Welcome everyone. I'm Pauline McMahon, and I'm delighted to welcome you to Sunday service. UUCLB is a welcoming and inclusive religious community rooted in love, trust, and freedom. We proudly celebrate our congregation's diversity of beliefs, ages, identities, and abilities. Greetings to those of you who are new or visiting our church this morning. We're so glad you're here. Please stop by the membership table after the service to fill out a newcomer form, or you can scan the QR code on the order of service. That way we can follow up with you. Welcome also to those who are joining us on Zoom and YouTube. Our live services are recorded and they're available for watching throughout the week. Out of respect for privacy, our cameras are focused on the pulpit, music, and altar areas only. Please take a moment to silence your cell phones and electronic devices. Now let's take a moment to greet each other respectfully and warmly. Oh, yes, they do. And the singing is, I heard them practicing. Oh my gosh, they're wonderful. Yeah, people don't participate.
They don't want to stop.
They want to see everybody chat. I need to have a little gong to go. We need a little gong to go.
Oh, I know. I have a gong, but I don't have a thing. I don't have a thingy on it. Ding.
Yeah, you used. I heard you doing.
I know
this,
how to do it.
and I was so impressed because you got it.
I know. I can make it ring.
Yeah.
I gotta go find that. I'll buy that this week.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could do it any other way. No, it needs a special tool.
We don't have anything.
I got the chimes over there.
Yeah.
They ding a little.
Okay. They love this one. That we need a ding, ding, ding. Yeah. Yeah. We need to get this. After the service, everybody. After the service, if you're watching online, please join us for the coffee hour where you can chat with others in the congregation. They're having a party over there. They're just having a party. I'll repeat that. After the service, if you're watching us online, please join our Zoom coffee hour where you can chat with others in the congregation. And for those of us on site, please join us for coffee hour on the patio where you can continue all this wonderful getting together. All are welcome to explore our organic community garden and the beautiful campus. The Rainbow Room is open for the care of your toddlers and infants. Children and Youth RE continue in the classroom. And now for a few brief announcements.
Hi, my name is Edie Mickey Silvera. I'm a member of your Board of Trustees, and we are embarking on a process where we redo our vision and mission statement for the year. It's been about 20 years since we've done it, and that's what we're in the process of doing currently. This is for newcomers. I know some of you guys have been hearing me for a little bit, but there are visitors every day. So we have listening circles. It's a small group gathering where you can give your hopes and dreams of what UUCLB can become in the future. So we have 3 more meetings. The first one is today in the lounge. It's a drop-in. There is some pizza available, so people can stay there for a little while and be able to, it takes about an hour to hour and a half. There is childcare available. There's a second listening circle for our youth. So any parents that want to gather your children and convince them and encourage them to give their hopes and dreams to our group, we want to hear from them too. So those are the 2 that are going on today. And the last one is actually on Thursday, and it's a Zoom one. So I have a sign-up sheet. If you give me your email, we'll send you an invitation, and you'll be able to find it. It should be online too, so you can drop in and see it if you go to the calendar on our website. So if there's any questions, I'll be out at the tables, and please come see me. Thank you.
Good morning. My name's David James. I'm the chair of your Music and Arts Committee here at UUCLB. You should all have postcards on your chairs with a whole bunch of events, great events we've got happening during the spring. There's going to be actually a couple more after these are over. We'll be announcing in the next couple of weeks. What I want to talk about today is 3 weeks from today is our St. Patrick's Day party. And we need lots of help putting this on. We need volunteers for setup, cleanup afterwards, kitchen work, food service. Jane Doolittle Swanson will be at a table outside taking sign-ups for that this after church today. And I hope a lot of you will join us. It's always a very, very fun time. And I hope that for all of these, we have the room just as crowded as it is right now. Thanks.
And now I put on my stewardship hat. As most of you know, March is the month we kick off our stewardship drive. Well, we're getting an early start this year. We have all the addressed envelopes for the members, each containing a pledge form for the coming year and the information about your past pledge. So meet us on the patio this morning. You can pick up the material, save a stamp, and maybe complete your pledge while you're there. We also have pledge information for our newer members, so come talk to us. So think about it. One more thing to cross off your to-do list, and you'll be supporting this church and everything it stands for. Thank you. So directly after the service, join interim Minister, Music Director Siobhan Haskin, our own Siobhan here, and Reverend Lissa for an informal talk back on today's service. At 11:30, as part of our vision and mission process, you're invited to join a drop-in listening circle in the lounge. Edie just spoke about that. Youth and families are welcome. Childcare and lunch is available. So at 3 p.m., join us for a Serenity in the Storm sound bath. Sound baths are amazing. So this is going to be outside under the structure with guest leader Reverend Sunshine Day. All are welcome. Finally, don't miss the invitation to take urgent action with UUCLB. On the back of your order of service, check out UUCLB's Stop Project 25 working group, which will meet tomorrow in the lounge, and the immigration strategy happening over the next few weeks. And now I welcome Matt Scott Barron.
Good morning, church. I'm honored and privileged to be here at the pulpit today. My name is Matt Scott Barron, and today I want to talk about Octavia Butler. It is California in the mid-2020s. Years of environmental degradation and drought have made the physical landscape a source of danger and destruction. In fact, wildfires are just one of the many threats to humans. A pandemic has wrecked much of the world's economy. Gun violence and drug use are at all-time highs. The political scene is a fragmented society. Violence, drugs, and other things are rampant. Society is dominated by the rise of a populist strongman who promises to restore the nation to its former glory and make America great again. Sound familiar? That scenario is not stolen from the headlines, though. The above are major plot points in two of Octavia Butler's novels, 1993's Parable of the Sower and the 1998 sequel, The Parable of the Talents. Both books are getting new attention these days because Butler seems so prescient in their pages about our current environmental and political climate. Inspiring the subject of our service today, the prophetic spirituality of Octavia Butler. Butler was born in Pasadena, California in 1947 into a strict Baptist family. After her father died when she was 7, she was raised by her mother and grandmother. She began writing as a child, asking her mother for a typewriter at a young age. At the age of 12, she saw the British pulp science movie Devil Girl from Mars. Years later, she would say the movie inspired her to write more because I could tell a better story than that. She says, when I began writing science fiction, when I began reading, heck, I wasn't in any of this stuff. I read Butler told the New York Times in 2000 interview, the only black people you found were occasionally characters who were so feeble with it that they couldn't manage anything anyway. I wrote myself in, and since I'm me and I'm here and I'm writing. Butler received an associate's degree from Pasadena City College in 1968. Then she continued her studies over the years at Cal State Los Angeles and UCLA. In 1984, Butler's novella, Blood Child, won the trifecta of science fiction writing awards, the Hugo, Locus, and Novella Awards. She was also the first science fiction writer to be named a MacArthur Fellow in 1995. Parable of the Sower centers on a young woman living in 2024. Lauren Olamina, whose life in the dystopian world described above is eventually completely overturned, leading her to found her own religion, Earth Seed. Parable of the Talents is a sequel set in 2032 in which a community of believers in Olamina's new religion finds its existence threatened by a demagogue who uses promises of the renewal of a Christian America to seize power and destroy his enemies. And yes, one of his promises is that he will make America great again. A phrase Butler later said she borrowed from Ronald Reagan's presidential campaigns. Octavia Butler sadly died suddenly on February 24, 2006, nearly 20 years ago. Her work continues to be celebrated, inspiring generations through countless reading groups and creative collaborations, including Brick and Mortar, Octavia's bookshelf in Pasadena. On this final Sunday of Black History Month, As we imagine our collective future in a time of crisis, we hope you are moved, challenged, and inspired by the service today. Our chalice lighting words are from the Reverend Adele Smith Penniman. We light this chalice, symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, as a symbol of the divine spark within every person. O creative flame, quicken our spirits when we fear, and warm us where pain resides, as we celebrate the new and the eternal chalice of our faith, challenging and healing. Adele Smith Penniman, thank you.
She's got the whole world in her hands. She's got the whole wide world in her hands. She's got the whole world in her hands. She's got the whole world in her hands. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me. This land is your land. This land is my land. From California to the New York Islands, all the way to New from York. The Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. This land was made for you and me.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Donna Frank Said, and I'll be reading you 5 excerpts from Parable of the Sower. I'm also, with my wife, hosting a discussion on the book. If you are interested in attending, it'll be in 2 parts. One will be this Tuesday, and next will be in March. So just please RSVP with Rev. Lissa. So I shall begin. Wednesday, November 6th, 2024. President William Turner Smith lost yesterday's election. Christopher Charles Morpeth Donner is our new president, president-elect. So, what are we in for? Donner has already said as soon as possible after his inauguration next year, he'll begin to dismantle the wasteful, pointless, unnecessary Moon and Mars programs. Near space programs dealing with communications and experimentation will be privatized and sold off. Also, Donner has a plan for putting people back to work. He hopes to get laws changed, suspend overly restrictive minimum wage, environmental, and worker protection laws for those employers willing to take on homeless people, and provide them with training and adequate room and board. What's adequate, I wonder? A house, an apartment, a room, a bed in a shared room, a barracks bed, space on the floor, space on the ground. And what about people with big families? Won't they be seen as bad investments? Won't it make much more sense for companies to hire single people, childless couples, or at most people with only 1 or 2 kids? I wonder. And what about those suspended laws? Will it be legal to poison, mutilate, or infect people as long as you provide them with food, water, and a space to die? Dad decided not to vote for Donner after all. He didn't vote for anyone. He said politicians turned his stomach. Belief initiates and guides action, or it does nothing. Earthseed, the Books of the Living. Sunday, March 2nd, 2025. It's raining. We heard last night on the radio that there was a storm sweeping in from the Pacific, but most people didn't believe it. We'll have wind, Corey said. Maybe wind and maybe a few drops of rain, or maybe just a little cool weather. That would be welcome. It's all we'll get. That's all there has been for 6 years. I can remember the rain 6 years ago, water swirling around the back porch, not high enough to come into the house, but high enough to attract my brothers who wanted to play in it. Corey, forever worried about infection, wouldn't let them. She said they'd be splashing around in a soup of all the waste water germs we've been watering our gardens with for years. Maybe she was right, but kids all over the neighborhood covered themselves with mud and earthworms that day, and nothing terrible happened to them. But that storm was almost tropical, a quick, hard, warm September rain, the edge of a hurricane that hit Mexico's Pacific coast. This is a colder winter storm. It began this morning as people were coming to church. In the choir, we sang rousing old hymns accompanied by Corey's piano playing and lightning and thunder from outside. It was wonderful. Some people missed part of the sermon, though, because they went home to put out all the barrels, buckets, tubs, and pots they can find to catch the free water. Others went home to put pots and buckets inside where there were leaks in the roof. I can't remember when any of us had a roof repaired by a professional. We all have Spanish tile roofs, and that's good. A tile roof is, I suspect, more secure and lasting than wood or asphalt shingles. But time, wind, and earthquakes have taken a toll. Tree limbs have done some damage too. Yet no one has extra money for anything as non-essential as roof repair. At best, some of the neighborhood men go up with whatever materials they can scavenge and create makeshift patches. No one's even done that for a while. It only rains once every 6 or 7 years. Why bother? Our roof is all right so far. The barrels and things we put out after services this morning are full or filling. Good, clean, free water from the sky. If only it came more often. Saturday, April 26, 2025. Sometimes naming a thing, giving it a name or discovering its name helps one to begin to understand it. Knowing the name of a thing and knowing what that thing is for gives me even more a handle on it. The particular God is change belief system that seems right to me will be called Earthseed. I've tried to name it before. Failing that, I've tried to leave it unnamed. Neither effort has made me comfortable. Name plus purpose equals focus for me. Well, today I found the name. I found it while I was weeding the back garden and thinking about the ways plants seed themselves. Wind-borne, animal-borne, water-borne, far from their parent plants. They have no ability at all to travel great distances under their own power, and yet they do travel. Even they don't have to just sit in one place and wait to be wiped out. There are islands thousands of miles from anywhere, the Hawaiian Islands, for example, in Easter Island, where plants seeded themselves and grew long before any humans arrived. Earthseed. I am Earthseed. Anyone can be. Someday I think there will be a lot of us, and I think we'll have to seed ourselves farther and farther away from this dying place. All right, 2 more. Sunday, June 7th, 2025. I finally assembled a small survival pack for myself, a grab and run pack. I've had to dig some things I need out of the garage and attic so that no one complains about my taking things they need. I've collected a hatchet, for instance, and 2 small, light, all-metal pots. There's plenty of stuff like that around because no one throws anything that has any possibility of someday being useful or saleable. I packed my few $100 in savings, almost $1,000. It might feed me for 2 weeks if I'm allowed to keep it, and I'm very careful what I buy and where I buy it. I've kept up with prices, questioning Dad when he and the other neighborhood men do the essential shopping. Food prices are insane, always going up, never going down. Everyone complains about them. I found an old canteen and a plastic water bottle, both for water, and I resolved to keep them clean and full. I packed matches, a full change of clothing, including shoes in case I have to get up in the night and run, a comb, soap, toothbrush, a toothpaste, tampons, toilet paper, bandages, pins, needles, thread, alcohol, aspirin, a couple of spoons and a fork, a can opener, my pocket knife, packets of acorn flour, dried fruit, roasted nuts, and edible seeds, dried milk, a little sugar and salt. My survival notes, survival plastic storage bags, large and small, a lot of plantable raw seed, my journal, my earthseed notebook, and lengths of clothesline. I stowed all this in a pair of old pillowcases, one inside the other for strength. I rolled the pillowcases into a blanket, packed and tied it with some of the clotheslines so that I could grab it and run without losing things. But I made it easy to open at the top so that I could get my journal in and out, change the water to keep it fresh, and less often change the food and check on the seed. The last thing I wanted to find out was that instead of carrying plantable seed or edible food, I had a load of bugs and worms. All right, lastly, Saturday, October 31st, 2026. I'm going to go north. My grandparents once traveled a lot by car. They left us old maps of just about every county in the state, plus several of other parts of the country. The newest of them is 40 years old. But that doesn't matter. The roads will still be there. They'll just be in worse shape than they were back when my parents drove a gas-fueled car over them. I put maps of the California counties north of us and the few I could find of Washington and Oregon counties in my pack. I wonder if there are people outside who will pay me to teach them reading and writing, the basics, or people who will pay me to read or write for them. Keith started me thinking about that. I might even be able to teach some earthseed verses along with the reading and writing. Given any chances at all, teaching is what I would do. Even if I have to take other kinds of work to get enough to eat, I can teach. If I do it well, I will draw people to me and to earthseed. Earthseed verse: all successful life is adaptable, opportunistic, tenacious, interconnected, and fecund. Understand it, use it, shape God. I wrote that verse a few months ago. It's like all the verses. It's true like all the verses. It seems more true than ever now, more useful to me when I'm afraid. I finally got a title for my book of Earthseed verses. Earthseed, the Book of the Living. There are the Tibetan and Egyptian books of the dead. Dad has copies of them. I've never heard of anything called a Book of the Living, but I wouldn't be surprised to discover that there is something. I don't care. I'm trying to speak, to write the truth. I'm trying to be clear. I'm not interested in being fancy or even original. Clarity and truth will be plenty, if I can only achieve them. If it happens that there are other people outside somewhere preaching my truth, I'll join them. Otherwise, I'll adapt where I must, take what opportunities I can find or make, hang on, gather students, and teach.
Good morning. Wednesday, January 8th, 2025. I'll never forget the way the sky looked that morning. Dark, hazy pinks and grays, pierced with a sharp light that I couldn't decipher the origin. As I approached my car, I remember being so confused by the tree branches which looked frozen over, glistening in the rays of the streetlight. I was so disoriented by the view and how sleepy I was, I considered if somehow I was dreaming, my mind free to wander at will and conflate my current LA neighborhood with childhood memories of an Indiana winter. Now, this is how I would probably start my journal entry if I were adding a page from my 2025 story to Octavia E. Butler's prophetically wise novel, Parable of the Sower. That morning, I hit pause on my regularly scheduled daily program to stay glued to the screen of my laptop while I myopically focused on my mother's recovery. For 2 weeks, I stayed at her side, making sure to log every new resource and take as many detailed notes of the phone calls, conversations, and tidbits of overheards after my mother's home, my family home, burned to the ground in the Eaton wildfire. I now understand that while I was consumed by my own grief and loss, trying to make sense of an unfathomable new reality, countless others were also struggling to find their footing in a world that seemed determined to erase them. Like Lauren Olamina, the main character in Butler's parable, I've learned that survival requires us to look beyond our immediate circles of pain. Right now, our trans siblings face legislative attacks attempting to erase their very existence from history books and public spaces. Immigrant families endure the trauma of separation and criminalization simply for seeking safety and opportunity. The deliberate dismantling of diversity and equity initiatives threaten to unravel decades of progress towards justice. These are not separate crises. They are interconnected threads in a larger pattern of displacement and erasure. I definitely feel like the year 2025 could have made different choices in its lesson plan to teach us about change. I've come to understand that catastrophic change can also be a catalyst for beautiful transformation. Butler wrote, "All successful life is adaptable, opportunistic, tenacious, interconnected, and fecund. Understand this, use it, shape God." These words challenge us to see beyond the ashes of what's been lost and recognize our power to adapt and create anew. Now, the first time that I read this passage, I heard it as a sign of hope, imparting the wisdom to the reader that when engaged, these traits will support the success for them to stay among the living. And I read these and heard it in melodic song that I'd like to share and teach you this morning. Can you play an A flat, please? Thank you. And Danilo, I'm going to ask if you please put the lyrics. There we go. All successful life is adaptable, opportunistic, tenacious, interconnected, and fecund. Understand this, use it, shape God. You can join along. All successful life is adaptable, opportunistic, tenacious, interconnected, and fecund. Understand this, use it, shape God. Great job, you guys. I would like to invite up my sister, who is our special musical guest today, Miss John Trey Christian. And she is going to help me out because this song is also written in a round. So y'all know how we love a round. So we're going to sing it through once, and we'll split the room. You got a lot of, yeah. We'll split it like right down the middle. Yeah. Same back there, okay? Y'all split yourselves back there. And online, choose if you're going to be one or two. So we are going to sing this through together, one time through. When I go like this, number twos, shh, okay? And then I'll let us know, invite you when it's our time to come in. And so we're going to sing it together, all one and twos, one time through unison. We're going to shush, they're going to continue. And then we're going to sing, each group is going to sing it through 2 times. And when we get to the very end, we will just repeat the last line a couple of times as it feels right. Okay? Can you give us an A flat again, please? Thank you, Robin. All successful life is adaptable, opportunistic, tenacious, interconnected, and fecund. Understand this, use it, shape God. All successful life is adaptable, opportunistic, all successful, tenacious, interconnected, and fecund. Opportunistic, understand this, tenacious, interconnected, and fecund. Understand this, successful life is adaptable, opportunistic, all successful, tenacious, interconnected, and fecund. Opportunistic, understand this, tenacious, interconnected, and fecund. Understand this, use it, shape God. Understand this, use it, shape God. Thank you.
My name is Charlie Crane. I'm grateful to share this week's meditation with you, which are excerpts from Octavia Butler's Earthseed texts. As we prepare to hear the meditation, you are invited to take a few deep breaths to ground yourself in your space, and to make yourself as comfortable as possible in your seat. Close your eyes if you wish, or find a place to rest your gaze upon something you find pleasing. As you feel your body relax, I invite you to open your mind and heart to explore the words, feelings, and images of the text, receiving what feels true and meaningful, and letting go of the rest. This is your time to receive and be nourished. All that you touch, you change. All that you change, changes you. The only lasting truth is change. God is change. God is power. Infinite, irresistible, inexorable, indifferent as the wind, as water, as fire, as life. God is both creative and destructive, demanding and yielding, sculptor and clay. God is infinite potential. God is change. Trickster, teacher, chaos, clay. God exists to be shaped. In order to rise from its own ashes, a phoenix first must burn. All struggles are essentially power struggles. Who will rule? Who will lead? Who will define, refine, confine, design? Who will dominate? When apparent stability disintegrates, as it must, people tend to give in to fear and depression, to need and greed. When no influence is strong enough to unify people, they divide. They struggle one against one, group against group, for survival, position, power. They remember old hates and generate new ones. They create chaos and nurture it. They kill and kill and kill. until they are exhausted and destroyed, until they are conquered by outside forces, or until one of them becomes a leader most will follow or a tyrant most fear. To survive, let the past teach you. Past customs, struggles, leaders and thinkers, let these help you. Let them inspire you, warn you, give you strength. But beware, God is change. Past is past. What was cannot come again. To survive, know the past. Let it touch you, then let the past go. All successful life is adaptable, opportunistic, tenacious, interconnected, and fecund. Understand this, use it, shape God. Your teachers are all around you. All that you perceive, all that you experience, all that is given to you or taken from you, all that you love or hate, need or fear, will teach you if you will learn. Partnership is giving, taking, learning, teaching, offering the greatest possible benefit while doing the least possible harm. Partner one another. Partner diverse communities. Partner life. Partner any world that is your home. Partner God. Only in partnership can we thrive, grow, change. Only in partnership can we live. Let us now sit in silence and reflect on these words and the meditation of our hearts, followed by our community practice of spoken joys and sorrows. Thank you.
And if you have taken this time to close your eyes or go within, I invite you to gently come back to this space if it feels comfortable for you. This is our time during the service. It's a clearing for us to receive from the community the joys, the suffering, to lift up those celebrations, and to hold in collective grief. So if anyone would like to come forward to share, I invite you to come forward and briefly offer something to the community now.
Hello. Hi, my name is Elaine Bernal. Good morning. So my joy this morning is that my family and I, we went to the Dream Theater 40th anniversary concert tour, and it was awesome. And for folks who are familiar with Dream Theater, it's such an appropriate time to go see them because a lot of their music is about just grief and chains and transition and embracing all of that. So I'm really grateful that we got to go as a family and that our teenagers who are 14 and 19 still want to hang out with us. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Grace Lawrenson, and I'm very happy to let you know that my grandson Milo that had back surgery about 4 weeks ago is recovering well, and the family's doing well, and I appreciate everybody thinking of him during this time. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Fred Kushner. I turned 79 last Sunday, and it was a privilege to celebrate it here. And then I went to Hilltop Park, where my young friends, who I canvassed with for RW, for a living wage, for hotel workers, and then for Measure A, had a picnic for me. And we were right in front of the ice cream truck, too.
Happy birthday.
My name is Frederick Rose, and I have both a joy and sorrow to mention today. The 21st of February, I reached 1 year of sobriety. Thank you. And my sorrow is that my mother-in-law passed away on Wednesday. That has not driven me to drink, nor my husband. But yeah, so just have his family in your hearts. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lori. And as some of you know who follow me on Facebook, there's been a lot of challenges at my work. We're primarily federally funded. And it's been a yo-yo. And it was really starting to affect me. But I am leaving after 15 and a half years, and I've accepted a position for a nonprofit in Long Beach who primarily works with children of varying abilities, Tishner Children's Clinic. Some of you have heard about it. And I'm very excited. I'm going to be starting there in about 3 weeks. And no federal funding, no state funding, no county funding. So what that means to me is I could put my whole heart into a work experience, and then I can fight for justice in my personal life. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Michael Light. Been absent for a while, but sorrow is that my mom has endured a series of respiratory infections that landed her in the hospital multiple times, and made me an intensive caregiver. So I've not been able to join you lately. But the joy is that she was up this morning without her walker. I kind of was like, sister, are you sure? But I've learned to leave her alone when she leaves the walker in her room. But she looked good, so I felt like I could get here today. So that's a joy, and I get to write with the folks today as well. So, yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name is Chris Kempf, and on behalf of the Pastoral Care Committee, just wanted to recommend to you all to keep in your thoughts Jonathan Kurt, who continues to confront issues relating to his esophageal cancer. Very serious medical condition. For those of you that know him, maybe give him a call of support occasionally here and there. And just wanted to relate that for him. Keep him in your thoughts, please.
Thank you. No, I'm just going to read online. You're good. So Janet Becker is sharing that she knew Chief Kristen Crowley and cherishes her leadership along with my friend, including friend who is LA Fire Department Captain Alicia Mathis, and she shares blessings for her on her release.
I just wanted to tell you that I've got a new caregiver, and she is wonderful. And she's going to be with me, I think, for a long time. She has stopped working for the woman that she was working for before because it was an unfortunate situation. And I welcome her so much, and I'm so happy. And my name is Bonnie Coombs.
Thanks, Bonnie. Would anyone outside like to share? I'm so happy to see you. Anybody want to share out there? Just raise your hand, I'll come out. Okay. All right. Well, transitioning from our time of meditation and sharing is now our time to give back. So we're going to move into our offering with a very special song. And this is just an offering of gratitude, and an offering of gratitude to each of you for all you contribute to this congregation with your presence, with your effort, with your pledges. And as we move into this pledge season, I'm just feeling so much gratitude. And let this offering be an expression of that gratitude. Amen.
everything must change. Nothing stays the same. Everyone will change. No one stays the same.
The young become the old, and mysteries do unfold. 'Cause that's the way of time. Nothing and no one goes unchanged.
There are not many things in life you can be sure of, except rain comes from the clouds and sun lights up the sky, and hummingbirds do fly.
Winter turns to spring. A wounded heart will heal, but never much too soon. Yes, everything must change.
The young become the old, yeah, and mysteries do unfold, because that's the way of time. Nothing and no one goes unchanged.
There are not many things in life you can be sure of, except
rain comes from the clouds and sun lights up the sky, and hummingbirds do fly.
rain comes from the clouds and sun lights up the sky, and hummingbirds do fly.
Rain comes from the clouds,
sun lights up the sky,
and hummingbirds do fly. Rain comes from the clouds,
sun lights up the sky,
and music makes me cry.
Thank you. The parable of the sower from the book of Matthew, chapter 13. That same day, Jesus went out of the house and sat by the lake. Such large crowds gathered around him that he got in a boat and sat in it, while all the people stood on the shore. Then he told them many things in parables, saying, a farmer went out to sow his seed, and as he was scattering the seed, some fell along the path, and the birds came and ate it. Some fell on rocky places where it did not have much soil, and it sprang up quickly because the soil was shallow. But when the sun came up, the plants were scorched, and they withered because they had no root. Other seed fell among thorns, which grew up and choked the plants. Still other seed fell on good soil, where it produced a crop, 160 or 30 times what was sown. Whoever has ears to hear, let them hear. I first read Parable of the Sower in my early 20s. I was just testing the waters of punk culture. I was never really good at it. In and out of anarchist collective houses, where tofu was left sprouting on the windowsill for weeks, and dumpster diving was a regular practice. Anyone else had like a punk, like, okay, okay. Got to swap some stories. So the world Octavia Butler described only kind of vaguely mirrored the edges of some of the society that I found myself on. Anti-capitalist communities squatting in abandoned buildings filled with artists, queers, and cross-country travelers, creating new worlds together in these places and on the dance floor. 2025 felt miles away at the time, so far, and a time so far in the future that it couldn't possibly scratch the present of a truth, scratch the truth of a present that I would someday inhabit. 25 years later, reading this book, we're living into her timeline of cascading crises, environmental, political, and social overlapping, intersecting crises. And yet I'm still finding myself in some kind of denial about her imagined world. It's a tough read for us picking it up. It's a tough read. And I'm still kind of revulsed by it in a way. But if there's anything that Octavia Butler forces us to do, it's to look at our world and play out the worst case scenarios. Not asking what if, but what now? Because we have been there before. Some of us just a month ago, we've been there before. But everyone in this room remembers March 2020, just around the corner of a 5-year anniversary of when our whole world changed. Our lives crashed to a halt as this mysterious illness made simply breathing the same air together dangerous, even deadly. And within weeks, the world as we knew it had shuttered completely. No childcare, no school, church, gym, grocery stores, public places, you name it. And we thought it was temporary. Do you remember that? Just shut down for a few weeks. Just enjoy it. Get a good book. Just a few weeks until they get it all under control. Sam got sick in those first few weeks, and he got a test in a makeshift outdoor tent before they could really even figure out the testing situation. And he never actually got those results because they called him back and said that the test had blown away in the wind. And I can so clearly remember feeling this disorienting feeling, like free falling every day, of just losing things every day, losing more ground every day, and the fear and worry. Were we going to die? Would our daughter die? would my members, my congregation die, my community? And no, as it turned out, we did not die. Gratitude for that. But over 1.2 million people did die, including so many beloved family members and community members, and everyone knows someone or many people who died. And that number seems still so unfathomable. But during that pandemic, we were forced to become adaptable, tenacious, interconnected, and we mused about how the pandemic could be a portal, enabling another world to be possible. Those were the words of Arundhati Roy that she so powerfully and passionately articulated about the pandemic. She said, "Whatever it is, coronavirus has made the mighty kneel and brought the world to a halt like nothing else could. Our minds are racing back and forth, longing for a return to normality, trying to stitch our future to our past, and refusing to acknowledge the rupture," she calls it, the rupture. But the rupture exists. In the midst of this terrible despair, she said, it offers us a chance to rethink the doomsday machine we have built for ourselves. Nothing could be worse than a return to normal. Historically, pandemics have forced humans to break with the past and imagine the world anew. It is a portal, a gateway between one world and the next. We can choose to walk through it, dragging the carcasses of our prejudice and hatred, our avarice, our databanks and dead ideas, our dead rivers and smoky skies behind us. Or, she writes, we can walk through lightly with little luggage, ready to imagine another world and to fight for it. That was March 2020, written from India. And fight for that world we did. In May 2020, the horrific police murder of George Floyd brought the nation into the streets, out of our isolation, in a moment of transformation that shook us out of our isolation and our own world and propelled our racial justice movements forward. And as it turned out, the pandemic was a portal. First, to a deeper awareness of how truly vulnerable and fragile our systems are, namely our democracy, and how much we depend on those systems to survive. And second, that pandemic was a portal to a greater and more truthful awareness of how white supremacy and racism has shaped every aspect of our nation's history and present. A truth so painfully clear at the time that even big corporations woke up, vowed to pitch in, and bend the arc of the universe a little bit more in the direction of justice and equity. And when life was safe enough to become normal again, we entered a world where those reliable institutions of democracy were still intact. Healthcare, education, safety, financial oversight, environmental protection, and we had acute awareness how those systems and laws and policies need to be rethought to make our country more, not less democratic. And now, 5 years later, we see this whole-scale attempt to undo and reverse and erase this progress, to forcibly set us back, to slash and burn the institutions of democracy. And who knows? There is a public health crisis brewing in the midst that could bring this talk of pandemic right back to where we were 5 years ago. We can't ignore the crisis every time we go to the grocery store and see an empty shelf of eggs or a $12 a dozen price tag. There's currently a rising public health crisis around bird flu and measles and suppression of information that should help us to understand and navigate the risks right in front of us. So where does all this lead? Well, Octavia Butler asks us to kind of work backwards from the worst case to what now? She wasn't afraid to push us past the limits of our own despair and explore the most extreme and, yes, violent possibilities of societal collapse. Not as science fiction to frighten us, but as a profoundly and hopeful, generative, creative endeavor. That question, what now, expands our imaginations for us to get real and develop some of the necessary tools for surviving and thriving in chaotic and dangerous and unstable times, which we find ourselves in. Lauren Olamina, that heroine of the parable books, begins journaling at the tender age of 15 when she realizes the crumbling world she is inheriting requires her to radically depart from the world her parents grew up in. Seeing so much change around her so quickly, she develops a spirituality that embraces change as the defining element of faith. And adaptability, resilience, flexibility, experimentation, and risk-taking as charisms or spiritual qualities to be developed. Embracing change, even when it is startling and uncomfortable, is a hopeful practice to allow our thinking paradigms to shift, guided by but not tethered to the past. We are not frozen in time. We are not imprisoned in a future imposed upon us by unjust leadership. We are free to shape our own destinies and to fight for the world we want to live in. After all, these are the days of our lives. Literally, as Javon would say, literally. These are our days. These are our days to live on this earth. These are the days of our children's lives, to teach them how to be adaptable and flexible and resilient, and to give them the world which they will inherit long after we leave it. And this is our community. This is the good soil. Did you know that the garden is the happiest soil in Long Beach? Go visit the garden today. Get inspiration from that beauty. Because that soil is deep and rich and fertile, and it is ready to be planted with seeds for the future. Octavia tried to tell us, but whoever has ears, let them hear. Amen.
I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. No matter where you go, no matter where you've been, you'll never walk alone. I feel you deep within. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. No matter what you feel or what you choose to show, I'm always there for you. And what I want you to know, I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love.
Go forth today receiving that love and sending it out to someone who needs it. For this is the day we are given. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of love, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Hello, everyone. If you'd like to join me in some coffee hour right now, you can turn on